since the 2015 Worlds fiasco, trying to go back, find success. It peaked a bit at MSI. We did a good job, but we're coming closer to that finish line, and we need to finish strong, and it starts here.
Well, redemption for Team WE and EDG's perfection run definitely starts with this match here for Froscone, because we are in Champion Select for game number 1 of this best-of-5 series between EDG and Team WE. EDG will be starting on the blue side for tonight, whereas Team WE will take it to the red side of Summoner's Rift. Already, the bans have come through as Karma, Shen, and Talia with the first 3 bans that come out from EDG, whereas Team WE, they've taken away Gameplank, Vladimir. Still waiting to see what their final ban will be, and it's actually the Cogmore taken away from Deft.
Like LGD, EDG have really shown their preference for that priority pick on hyper carries like Kog'Maw. That said, with Kog'Maw taken off the board, it still does open up the possibility of Deft's Twitch, although he can really play anything. Jhin, Ashe, Sivir.
Certainly, Kenny. He's had a wide variety of champions played through the split Frosco, and his most go-to champion, though, is still that Sivir, so we'll have to see if he does lock it in later on tonight. For now, though, they pick up Clearlove's champion of choice, which is going to be the Rek'Sai heading into the jungle.
I'm actually really surprised that they didn't choose to prioritize the Gragas. If I have to think about key champions that either counter Team WE or will be used by Team WE, it's Gragas and Sivir that come to mind. They like to play a lot of wave clear and wave control in the mid lane, and Gragas is just so potent and powerful about countering that out.
And really good at getting picks in the mid lane, especially from Gragas. We talked about how he can control that lane fairly well. And it's Clearlove's second most played champion this year, so very surprising that they give it up. And it's in fact going to be Team WE that pick it up here tonight. Condi will be taking that into the jungle, where it's 957 has locked in Alistar, most likely as the support for Zero in the bottom lane.
And I'm honestly surprised that more teams aren't targeting away that Alistar from Zero's hands. In his previous quarterfinals match against Vici, he had a phenomenal MVP performance despite never earning the award himself. So I think this might be a slight oversight from EDG, especially because they really rely on their bottom lane to get ahead.
Definitely could be. Zero played Alistar 4 times in their match against Vici. Every single time looked phenomenal on the champion, even in the game they lost. So you're going to have to see how they can deal against this one. EDG still looking for their next 2 picks, though.
And what this brings me to, in kind of a roundabout way, is why would EDG prioritize Rek'Sai? And the answer is because it's Rek'Sai on blue side. We see this from Clearlove. It's pretty much telegraphed every single time. He'll start the Gromp, he'll very quickly rush Wolves, he'll ignore the blue buff, go to red, Scuttle Crab, and then gank bottom right away. We'll keep our eye to see if he looks for the same gank path, but 9 times out of 10, it's first blood for Deft.
Let's see if they can do just that, because he is a dominant jungler, especially when he does get the Rek'Sai. And like you mentioned on the blue side, even more so. Gnar and Sivir are going to be the next 2 lockies that come in for EDG. So Gnar heading into the top lane for Mouse, and Death will be picking up the champion he's played the most this year.
And that just goes to speak to the comfort that Mouse has had in the development over the split. The fact that they can now blind pick their top laner. Yes, it is the Gnar. He has fantastic 1v1 individual matchups due to his range, punishing a lot of those melee top laners. But still nice to see.
We're still waiting to see what Team WE are going to lock in next. There was a brief hover of the Ezreal coming up from Mystic, a champion I would definitely love to see him play. He played 1 game of it recently against Vici, and he's played 30 games of Ezreal this year, Frosco, and he's very fond of the champion, but it will not be the champion that he picks up today. Instead, it's going to be Echo picked up in the top lane for 957, potentially for Sia in the mid lane, and Ashe is going to be the AD carry of choice. For
all the compliments we leverage at Team WE's bot lane, particularly in Mystic on that Ezreal, you do have to start to consider that maybe Mystic has an exploitable champion pool. The fact that it's really only been the Ezreal and the Sivir that he finds success on. We saw it in his last series against Vici. He tried to go for that Jhin as the denial pick and just had a very lackluster performance on it across the board. I like to see him moving away from it, but with Sivir constantly being the denial pick, it puts Mystic in a sticky situation.
He's played over 50 games of just Ezreal and Sivir combined, and nowhere close to double digits for anything else except for the Lucian that was picked up very heavily at the start of the split. On the flip side, we do see EDG lock in the Lissandra as their mid lane pick of choice, a champion that's been coming back into the LPL as we head in towards the playoff run, and Tahm Kench will be Mako's go-to support for today.
A lot of what's happening right now is that teams are prioritizing champions that have a semi-global presence to work with the double teleport meta really being strong right now. So it's kind of like the rise of the Tahm Kench as well as the really solidified return of Lissandra. She works very well with double teleport, but the fact that EDG have 2 semi-global ults and Tahm Kench as well as Rek'Sai, and then are running the double teleport on top of that in tandem with the Sivir, they have so many options. 1-3-1, especially if Mouse gets ahead on that Gnar. They can make any play that they have happen in the bottom lane. A lot of control around that Baron pit.
However, Team WE have completed their team composition by picking up Kassadin in the mid lane. Seer will be taking on up against Lissandra. It is 6.15, so there have been a couple of small buffs for the Kassadin. And we have seen them being picked up globally quite a lot recently. Even last night in the EU LCS was picked up in one of their playoff matches.
But the problem is that Kassadin needs to be picked up with consistent and even wave clear, which is usually why he's picked in tandem with things like Sivir or Karma in that support position to help augment it. Last time Team WE tried to pick up the Kassadin, they did it with Jhin. They lost early game, they got shoved in, had no way to clear those waves. This time around, it's been alleviated because they have the Gragas and the Ashe, so they're obviously learning from some of their previous mistakes.
Yeah, that composition with the Kassadin was the only loss that Team W have against Vici. Gonna have to see if they can use it effectively here against EDG in the first match of this best of 5 series. On to Summoner's Rift for game number 1 between EDG and Team WE. It's the first match of the semi-finals of the LPL. And they're reloading onto the Rift. The dream and the hopes and dreams of heading into the World Championship starts right here for Oscar.
And what a match to kick us off. I cannot emphasize this enough. This is Team WE, you know, the longest standing favorite team of China since their dominance internationally and domestically as World Elite, since then rebranded, versus the Betrayers, the Revenge team, Edward Gaming, the team that split World Elite in half and led them on their downward spiral before their rise back to glory. We never get to see these two teams really compete in a best of 5. It may be a whole year before we get an opportunity like this, especially in a high-pressure situation like semifinals, like the perfect one for Edward Gaming. This would be the sweetest revenge for Team WE to knock EDG out here.
It certainly would be, and we get the fortunate, it's not the right word there, but the opportunity to watch this game here today for Oscar, because it is the best of 5 series.
The pleasure and the honor
to watch these two teams face off. They are two historical organizations, 2 of the top teams in the LPL, and this match is going to be a slugfest between the 2 of them.
So let's go ahead and kind of break down these compositions, because I really like what EDG have kind of opened up. Again, it's 6.15. We really haven't seen too much pressuring or innovation in terms of level 1s just yet. The lane swap wards not as needed before, because obviously there's no lane swaps. We did have a delayed invade in one of our series earlier on in our playoff bracket, but otherwise it's been kind of quiet, steady 2v2 lanes. Now, why this is important is because EDG have Lissandra and they have Gnar, and both of those solo lanes, especially in tandem with the bottom lane having Sivir, are all going to push. And I think having pushing lanes on 6.15 has shown to be the most effective and easiest strategy to pull off, because it means that you're going to open up so much space for your jungler to 1v1 the enemy.
However, in this bottom lane, you can already see aggression coming out from EDG as Zero and Mystic both taking a ton of damage. Both AD carries using their heal. Flash comes out from the Ashe. Deft and Mako already want to fight this early on, and they're shoving in this way so hard against Mystic and Zero.
And if you're new to the LPL and you remember Deft from his OGN Korean days, this is a new Deft, this is a new animal. Mako and Deft will do this every single time, often either getting first blood at level 2 or costing the team first blood at level 2, more often than not, they find success.
Mostly. This time around, they decide not to go over aggressive. They burn more summoner spells than they use, and they head straight back to base. It will be Sivir that goes back, picks up a longsword for herself.
But immediately looking for that very aggressive forward warding. This is what we talked about in Champion Select. Rek'Sai, EDG, blue side priority pick. He doesn't take blue buff. Rek'Sai doesn't need it. Instead, he's going to use the pressure point and try to find out Condi.
He does find him, takes away the wolf camp, and now is trying to fight him. Flash away coming out from Condi. Already Team WE put on the back foot very early on into this match.
And they're put on the back foot in multiple lanes. Not only is Condi in a lot of pressure and trouble right now, but it also means that Team WE's bot lane just has to sit back and take the abuse that they're getting from Deft and Mako with the threat that Clear loves in the area.
And
now mid.
Going in towards the mid lane, Sia now has to flash over this wall. So flashes burn across the map. It's only right now 957 who seems to be one that's doing safe.
And the first 4 minutes, EDG have complete control of the map in pretty much every single lane except for that top side, like you said.
And it kind of comes down to Clear Love. Once again, he's got his hands on Rek'Sai on the blue side of the jungle. Frostco and a champion. A pick that we talked about very heavily in Champion Select. We're going to have to see now how he utilizes it even more effectively than he already has. Deft and Mako now in the bottom lane do have the buy advantage over Mystic and Zero because the Sivir did head back to base and get that extra longsword. Now the wave is crashing on slowly towards their turret.
And right now, EDG just kind of sit back, let Clear Love farm up his jungle. They organically won the lanes, although here comes the flash.
That's aggressive. Mako flashes forward, gets the tongue lash on towards Mystic, who has no summoner spells. Here's Scout, locking him down. First blood picked up by Scout on the bottom lane. Zero has to flash away, and teleport has to be cancelled by Sia. Deft even goes aggressively forward. They get a double kill in the bottom lane, Frostco. EDG off to an incredibly strong start.
And here's the thing. Again, I was just saying, EDG can actually just sit back and let Clear Love clear out the rest of his jungle and look for a gank because they organically just won. Instead, they're like, no, you know what? Let's just beat them in the first 15 minutes. Immediately burn the double teleport. This is a power that EDG and a composition that they're incredibly comfortable with and have now skyrocketed ahead.
And this is great for EDG as well because Team WE throughout the entire summon split of the LPL, we have called them the Elder Dragon team. 35 minutes into the game is where Team WE really want to fight. It proved true when they took on Vici. About 22 to 35 minutes is where they really started to turn on the gas. EDG being so dominant early is going to set them back so much.
And we talked about this against Vici, that Team WE, yes, they're incredible at 5v5ing, but a superior team like Edward Gaming is not going to let them get away with that. They cannot consistently just sit back and try to look towards a late game because someone like RNG, someone like EDG, the two teams that Team WE have had to sit behind, will destroy you in the first 15 minutes.
And already EDG are doing just that. It has given them time to go back to base and pick up a few small components of their first few items. Mid lane, Scout being very respectful, picks up his Negatron Cloak to start things off, mitigating a lot of the magic damage that both Condi and Sia do in this mid lane.
Well, he's pretty much only there for the hard CC at this point, as well as the lane control. Again, Lissandra really excels in that she's able to push things forward. She has a ton of mobility. She works very well with double teleport because she can immediately TP to a lane, throw down hard CC. So I like the fact that Scout's kind of getting the best of both worlds.
And a player from Splice on the EU LCS analyst desk last night was talking about how Lissandra is such a big pick now because it's standard lanes. No lane swaps means you can just roam around the map, have all that very early pressure, and impact the map as early on as possibly can. Whereas Kassadin kind of does the same thing, but has to hit level 6, and more often than not, at level 6, he is much further behind than his opponents. And Team WE immediately see both the Rek'Sai and the Lissandra fall into Fog of War, and they back away completely from this bottom lane outer turret.
But the damage has already been done because that tower is now at less than half health. And again, with 6.15, you're dealing with the First Blood tower gold. So again, I just think that right now, 6.15, at least in the LPL, has shown pick pushing lanes. Pick lane dominant champions, and especially if you just have the superior players pound for pound across the board, because you'll organically just come up with these massive gold leads.
Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Clear Love flashes forward. They immediately lock down Sia and pick up another kill in the mid lane.
And again, the fact that there's still kill pressure, despite the fact that Lissandra has itemized into a Negatron Cloak, shows the comfort and power that EDG have on this roster. It's riddled with damage.
This is already such an aggressive start coming out from EDG. Team WE just have to play reactive League of Legends at the moment because EDG are all over them. Even now, Clear Love looking to move in towards Condi's red buff and try and get a smite wall going on and take this one away. Will be able to not take it down, I believe. It was Scout that picked it up. But still goes to EDG.
Yep, still denying those camps. And it's going to help out. Lissandra, range versus melee. So now it's even just worse for Chie there, because now he has to also deal with that red buff on Lissandra's auto attack.
Top side of the map, though, 957 trying to be a little bit aggressive here towards Mouse. He's the only one that has not been touched here by Klilov so far, and he is slightly ahead in terms of CS.
But the fact that they're okay to leave Mouse alone and he's not on a sinking chip, yes, he's down that 10 CS, but it used to be so much worse for Mouse when he first joined the squad. You know, filling Koro's shoes was a big place and responsibility to pick up on this team, and Mouse has done so wonderfully.
He certainly has, and he's up against an Echo as well, which is no easy task for any lane. The champion is just incredibly strong, especially when you can pick up the items like Iceborne Gauntlet or the Trinity Force very early on into a match.
Yeah, it's the adjustment of the itemization that really brought back and solidified Echo's place back into the meta. But also, like you said, a lot of really strong 1v1 matchups or skill-based matchups that Echo can favor. But he really never fell out of popularity in the LPL.
Yeah, in the LPL they still picked it up, you know. He dropped out a little bit when he got nerfed, but, you know, took about 2 or 3 games and he was like, this guy's still good.
And it's due to the LPL's priority on zone control, playing around choke points, manipulating terrain, and of course Echo with his high mobility, but more importantly his ability to AoE stun and choke points has really lifted the priority for him.
It certainly has. But so far in this match, most of the focus has been towards the bottom side of Summoner's Rift.
Surprise, surprise.
You can even see Mako and Deft are using the ultimate of Tahm Kench just to get back to lane a little bit quicker here. Not opting to use it for extra map pressure.
Things have slowed down a bit, so Team W getting a chance to kind of catch their breath. It's nice that Zero was trying to clear out the vision and just set up some defensive vision, but Mako is actually just immediately countering that out.
They're still trying to collapse on towards Mako here. Zero and Sia will lock him down to start things off, but the grey health of Tahm Kench just incredibly strong, means he takes little to no damage from that trade.
Just so much safety to be so overzealous and aggressive, placing down this deep vision. So Team WE, you know, they had just kind of cleared out their own jungle, tried to reset the map for Condi, and immediately have to deal with that again.
And Deft's been able to go back to base, picked up a BR sword to go with the Caulfield's Warhammer he previously picked up, so going for the Essence Reaver. We saw a brief stint of Sivers picking up Infinity Edge. Thanks, Uzi, for that one. It was an interesting day to cast. But Mystic, he's going straight towards his Infinity Edge on this Ashe, not picking up the components of his Zeal just yet.
We'll see if he goes for that Hurricane before completing the Infinity Edge, or if Team W will rush towards the battle stats of the Infinity Edge, trying to fight for an Infernal. But right now, they just need to catch up to EDG solo laners.
They certainly do. In the mid lane, we see Sia going for his Catalyst to start off as his first item. Last time we saw him play this Caston, he picked up the Hextech Revolver to kick things off. Didn't work out for him. In fact, he got punished very heavily for it.
It was a bit of a bizarre item choice. I don't think that we'll see the same thing from Chie anytime again.
Never.
Going
Never
a bit
again.
more standard now for the Rod of Ages.
But he has weathered the storm. That's really where Castanen starts to pick things up once he picks up that first component.
Which means it now gets even more dangerous, especially since CA has his teleport back available, for EDG to continuously make plays like this. They need to be perfect on their execution, because if Castanen gets the TP counterplay down there and plays janitorial duty, that's a fed Cassidy.
But Scout has picked up his first item. Abyssal Scepter will be the first pickup for the Lissandra, so already a very big power spike for her.
One of my favorite things about Lissandra is her low-cost item efficiency and her build paths, especially across from someone like Cassidy, to deny a lot of that burst damage and kill pressure. So I'm glad that she's in a very healthy place in the meta. I think Lissandra's a very fun champion, has a lot of flexibility through her itemization, especially through her interactions of her ultimate in the Hourglass if she faces a very high AD composition.
As meanwhile, they're being aggressive in the bottom lane. Zero flashes forward to get the headbutt. The pulverize down. And Mystic's arrow will just land straight onto the spell shield, popped by Death. They were looking for a gank in the bottom lane, but it's just Summoner Spells traded between the two teams.
And we're starting to see a bit of Mystic's discomfort on picks like Ashe when he doesn't have that Ezreal, when he doesn't have the Sivir. Expect to see that continuously denied away from him for the rest of the series.
Whereas Klilov looking to try and go to toe-to-toe against Condi again. Takes away the Wolves again. Now dealing a lot of damage on towards this Gragas, forcing him to retreat deeper in towards his jungle. Now we'll look to see if he can get the collapse down. The damage already being dealt by Rek'Sai. He's moving in towards the mid lane. There's a Tahm Kench and Mako here as well with Death, and surprise for the Cassidy. And suddenly there's 4 members of EDG in the mid lane.
And that's also going to be the first tower falling, so a massive gold swing for EDG collectively with the first blood tower bonus as well as the tower going down and the kill that they pick up. That's about 1,000 gold for free.
And the map's just falling apart right now, Frosker, and the bottom side of Summoner's Rift is just completely going in EDG's favor.
And it started at level 1, again, pushing lanes. They have the Gnar, they have the Lissandra, they have the Sivir. They pushed everyone forward. They created that isolated 1v1 for Clearlove, continuously invaded Condi, and this is how EDG win. They win through their jungler empowering their bot lane.
And the only thing that really has been fairly even for Team W so far is that top lane. 957 slightly ahead in terms of CS, but all he's doing right now is just sitting on his island watching everything just fall apart elsewhere, knowing that he can't do too much at the moment. We can check in with item builds really quickly here because the Frozen Fist has been picked up by 957 on the top side of the map. Mouse went for the Frozen Mallet instead. Mid lane, it's going to be the Hextech GLP 800 that's picked up by Sia. That's an interesting item choice to say the least.
Although, hold on. His items may be fairly irrelevant as this dive comes to fruition.
And looking for it. Blue buff seems like what EDG wants to try and contest for to start things off. Clearlove being very aggressive and at the front of his team. Sia does not want to lose this.
All eyes on Mystic and how he's going to use this arrow, and then on who.
Lends it on towards Mako. Condi goes in, but just separates the team, and EDG turn on the gases. On the hunt has been popped, chasing down members of Team WE. Barrel being used as zoning potential coming out from Condi, but nothing else is taking place just yet.
They need to back off, though, because it's about to be a 4v5. Mouse doesn't have teleport, and 957 is getting a flank.
And he's already looking to try and collapse on towards EDG. They do back off, but Parallel Convergence is coming over the Dragon Pit wall. He flashes in towards it, locks down Clearlove. Mako in trouble, taking a lot of damage, will fall down first. 957 tries to preoccupy Clearlove and Scout, successfully does so, but it's still a single pick picked up by Team WE.
And that is why Echo never lost favor in the LPL. It's using choke points like that, but here comes Scout.
They go back in on towards Mystic. He flashes away. Clearlove flashes forward for him. He takes up the kill. Scout even somehow gets away. Now it's Def trying to save Clearlove. Gets good ricochet damage down. Condi has to be careful. Boomerang Blade comes out, doesn't connect with the second half, and a double kill comes out for Sia.
And there's that missed execution we were talking about. The one win condition that Team WE really had left in this early game was the janitorial cleanup duty for CA on that Kassadin, and he picks up a double kill.
However, here comes Sumcash trying to see if he can save this bottom lane, but there are 4 members of Team WE pushing on for this turret. First turret of the game falls for Team W, but it is traded back with Mouse split pushing on the top side of the map.
Okay, so quick recap. Like you said, towers were traded top side for bot side outers. But the big benefactor still Team WE getting that Kassadin started going on that snowball. Although with Mystic now moving to the top side of the map, EDG have an opportunity where they can collapse and pick up the Infernal Dragon. Excuse me. Oh, no,
yep, it is Infernal Dragon. We'll have to try and see if EDG do move towards that pit and take that one down. They still have a 3,000 gold lead for themselves heading into this match, despite all the shenanigans in the bottom lane that just took place that went in favor of Team WE. But already big item pickups coming out for their team.
I like the call from WE here,
Okay.
just giving away the Infernal Drake, knowing that yes, we did get the last team fight, but it was due to a 4v5 discrepancy. We probably won't get that again. So let's try to trade this for the standing gold.
And they do just that. They send 3 members of the team towards the top side of the map. EDG see this and immediately take down that Infernal Dragon. At the same time, Def doing what he can to take down the bottom lane outer turret, and top lane outer turret will fall for Team WE.
The threat here is now who's going to get the push through. You already see the ping come out from EDG that they plan to try to push this wave through, not just bounce it. They're going to have a lot of tower shred, especially with Clearlove there. But can Team WE match on the bottom side of the map?
It seems like that's what they want to do. They've even drawn Condi towards that side of the map. Mouse is left to try and deal with this one alone. Will be turning into Mega. Zero tanks up a lot of damage there. Has to be careful. Mouse even using the Gnar ultimate just to knock the minions away. Throws another boulder down. Very low health bars on the side of Team WE. They have to be careful. This turret is not going to fall down, and Mouse defends it. EDG, they're onto an inhibitor turret in the bottom lane. That will fall. Everything's just falling apart for Team WE, as the inhibitor is now the next target for EDG.
And again, Team WE are punished from a Kassadin composition as Mouse is now stalling backs.
He's going in, does get taken down here, but does successfully stop the backs from Team WE, and that's an inhibitor just 17 minutes into the game going for EDG.
The damage has been done. The problem with taking Kassadin in the mid lane, and it's burned Team WE multiple times, is you need to pick up wave clear. Although before we get into that point, Clearlove's not done.
Yep, they're going towards the top side of the map. 957 and Mystic, they are stuck stuck between a rock and a hard place. Lissandra is even flanking around to see if he can get on top of 957, but a smart move coming out from the Echo teleports him back to the Nexus.
There was no way that CA could go back and defend the tower as a Kassadin. His only call was to go forward into that mid lane. Because Gragas Condi was out of position trying to help Team WE push down on the top side of the map, they didn't have the correct members and the correct resources to match EDG. EDG called them on their bluff and won out huge.
And now it's a 5,000 gold lead for EDG. Just 18 minutes into this game, Frosker, and we expected them to be really strong early and try to take down Team WE early because they shined late, but not this much.
I mean, it kind of comes as a surprise just because we haven't seen EDG in a few days. You know, they were sitting really deep in the playoff run. We maybe forgot just how dominant they are, but remember, Fish, EDG are Batman. And when they have their boot on your neck, they're just going to keep applying pressure.
Which component of Batman is Team WE again? I forget.
They're Rorschach.
They're Rorschach.
Remember, Vici are Night Owl. Team WE are Rorschach. They're the chaos, they're the 5v5, they're that brutal mentality.
And the EDG is just plain old Batman.
They're the two put together. The early game and the late game. That's what's really terrifying. It's normally if Team WE are in a position like this, you're like, it's okay. They've still got their incredible late game 5v5 ability. They've come back from worse deficits from this. But against the likes of EDG, the best 5v5 team in the LPL, it might be lights out.
Definitely could be. We'll have to see how they go throughout the rest of this game. For now, though, bottom lane inhibitor is down, and we are not even 20 minutes into this game. That does give EDG a ton of map control, especially with Baron coming up in 45 seconds. And
having that Baron inhibitor, like you said, they can play around those pressure points. Again, they have a semi-global composition with the Rek'Sai, with the Tahm Kench, as well as the double teleports. Double TP is not up right now, but when it is, you can expect to see them exploit this.
It certainly could. It's Klirov actually trying to move in towards the base of Team WE just to be a little bit of a nuisance. May get caught out here because Condi and Zero are trying to wrap around on towards the Rek'Sai.
They won't catch him.
Tunnels will be destroyed by Zero, but that's all he gets from it.
This is something that Clearlove does all of the time, and I talk about this previously, but the true successor to Wei Xiao was not an AD carry. It was Clearlove. What made Wei Xiao really famous was his Ezreal play and how he would revolutionize using his ultimate to trim waves and create the sixth man, the big pressure point of the slow push. That was what made World Elite such a dominant team back in IPL 5. Clearlove will consistently create slow pushes and pressure points on junglers, which is why a pick like Rek'Sai is so powerful on him, because he'll do this on something like Nunu, which doesn't have the built-in mobility. You'll just see him stand in a side lane and ult a massive creep wave, and you're like, what are you doing? He's pushing waves.
I'll tell you what, I've done that before, Froscone. Rusty was not happy that his mid lane suddenly disappeared.
I've played with you, Fish. I can believe it.
For now, though, EDG in firm control of this game. 5,000 gold in the lead. Have an inhibitor down just 20 minutes into the match. Baron is up and
just
available.
20 minutes. You know, the casual 20-minute inhib.
Casual, it wasn't even 20. It was casual 17-minute inhibitor coming out from EDG.
And they didn't even burn the inner top. It just stings.
Yep.
EDG now moving into Team WE's red jungle. They're placing their triangle vision because they want this Baron. It's now about, can they create a pick and can they rotate into it? So we're looking for Condi or we're looking for Mystic.
Zero does have his Ruby Sightstone, so we'll have a few extra wards to place down and try and get vision back for his team, but EDG just look like they want to try and control as much as possible. Deny as many wards as possible and force the trinket wards to be used by Team WE before they get towards this Baron buff.
It is pretty important that Mouse wasn't able to hang on to his Mega Gnar form, which means that a lot of the pressure and momentum that EDG had built for that possible pick or play has now been neutralized or dissolved, waiting on that Mega Gnar cooldown again.
Which won't be too long. ZG do have good control over this pit, as there goes Scout, looking to try and get the jump on towards 0 and 957. Clearlove's going in, can't quite find the Echo. Protobelt even used there by Lissandra to close the distance, but can already see how hungry EDG are to try and find these picks.
And they have a window that's closing for opportunity here just because that inhib will be spawning again soon.
And that just adds insult into injury there as Clearlove smites away the Raptor camp.
I think the right call. The inhib is now come back up. We've lost the Mega Gnar. We weren't able to find the pick. Good hold and defense from Team WE. Let's reset, look towards this dragon, and then contest the bottom inhib again.
And it's going to be another Infernal Dragon as well, so they would definitely want to try and stack these up. They already got the first one. Scuttle Crab gets spit out towards the Infernal Dragon. They're going to do both at the same time here, but that should be taken up by EDG. No contest coming out from Team WE.
The 2-for-1 special, throwing the Scuttle Crab at the Infernal Drake. Trying to control it both, but always going to go back for it?
We'll take it down. We'll kill the Scuttle Crab as well. And the third dragon to spawn is going to be the Infernal Drake. You know, we haven't even seen ING play today yet, Frostgrim, but it's already on EDG's side.
And it's so punishing against a team like Team WE, who often give up these free early dragons. Not free, but the early dragons, because they rely so much on their 5v5 and have lackluster lane control.
EDG look like they want to try and take red buff away from Team WE. Clearlove getting position to stop them from taking this objective. Mystic, Condi, and Sia waiting in the wings to see if they can get the engage going down. Mako is going to be the target to start things off, but that's just EDG support. He pops the Grey Health, and he's fine for now. In the backlines, Mystic's going to get taken down. Gets jumped on by Scout as well as Clearlove. Now the rest of the team's just falling apart. Sia flashes over the wall, but does get taken down. Zero's the next target. The boulder gets slammed in his face as the Nard just chases on forward. Gets another kill for EDG. That's 3 big picks.
3-for-1 is its only Mako that goes down. And again, Mystic finds the inappropriate target with that arrow, hitting the Tahm Kench. They're burning so many key cooldowns on the Grey Health.
Team WE definitely want to try and contest for this Baron, though. They're not going to give it up anytime soon. 957 threatening to try and jump in towards this pit. Condi does have his smite. He is the son of Baron. If anyone can control the beast, it's going to be him.
But it needs to be pointed out that it's level 13 smite versus 12. He's got an uphill climb.
2,000 health. Condi can't quite get in position yet. He's going in,
no.
misses the body slam, and even gets taken down to add insult to injury. As Scout comes across the wall with his clog, picks up the kill. Sia joins the fight, chasing down Lissandra instead. Gets good damage down. 957 gets a return kill for his team, but the rest of EDG going to start to run away. Def taking a bit of damage from Sia, turns around. Good crits coming out from the Sivir. All Team WE get is a single pick at trading their jungler and not even getting the Baron.
But at this point, it's just damage control to try to remove as many Baron buffs from the field as possible. Meanwhile, someone needs to deal with the creep wave that's crashing onto that bottom inhib.
They certainly do. It's going to take a lot of, you're going to get a lot of damage on towards this inhibitor. Sia will move down, he will clean that one up, but still, if EDG just walk down to that bottom lane, that inhibitor is going to fall.
And that is a play that Condi has made his reputation on. He's called the son of Baron because he's able to make those high-pressure Baron steals when it counts. We saw him do it against Vici in the last series, but unfortunately, high-pressure situation, semi-final moment. He fails the belly bop over the wall, just a mechanical misplay.
And it's one of the plays from Condi that we haven't seen so much during the summer split. In fact, it was mostly spring split where he really was the son of Baron. Has kind of died out for now, and he was not able to execute it properly there. EDG are now 8,000 gold ahead of Team WE and looking to just push for even more objectives. Mid lane inner turret falls. We have the Rek'Sai coming back to this fight using his ultimate.
And we have the pick of the litter about where EDG want to attack next. It looks like Clearlove, again, with his Baron buff, is going to pull the old Wei Xiao and start pushing in a pressure point on the bottom side of the map.
Even puts down a pink ward to deny vision close towards that bottom lane. He will be pushing out for the rest of his team. EDG now on a 1-3-1. Top side of the map will be Nard, Deft, Scout, and Mako in the mid lane trying to push down this mid lane inhibitor turret. Slowly getting chipped away by this cannon minion that Team WE just can't quite deal with. As Clearlove still split pushes on the bottom side, and that takes no damage at all from Sia.
This Rek'Sai is huge right now. Clearlove's KDA isn't on the top for no reason.
And Sia tries to jump on top of him, does a little bit of damage, and suddenly has to tank up these Baron up minions. He's not too happy about that one. Clearlove just waltzes into the base and takes down another inhibitor for EDG. Mid lane inhibitor turret taking half its health in damage already. Sia just can't quite deal with this beast.
And again, it has to be Ashe and Gragas right now. This is where Team WE are punished.
They do jump onto Clearlove. They knock him back to the base with the ultimate from Gragas, but suddenly here comes Mako trying to save his jungler. Sia has been exhausted and eaten up by the Tahm Kench. Def gets the kill onto Sia. Condi's been locked down by Scal. Clearlove goes on a killing spree as the rest of Team WE valiantly tried to fight, but a double kill comes out for the Sivir, and the rest of Team WE just have to watch as their base falls apart. EDG are looking for the win.
Team WE do not have the early game to deal with the monster that is Edward Gaming, and it looks like Death will clean this up with a quadra kill.
He goes for it. 957 gets taken down. Scumbag Mouse steals it, but still triple kill for Death. They push on towards the Nexus. They take down both turrets, and the Nexus will fall. And EDG pick up game number 1 of this best-of-5 series.
But you have to think that Team WE just made it too easy in Champions Select, not having a wave clear mid laner and really getting burned in multiple instances. Yes, Scout was getting great chip damage, but when EDG managed to take down or apply pressure from the bot lane to the mid lane, it fell with ease. Then, making that race for the 17-minute inhib, Cassidy cannot defend that. If it's Victor, you have a chance there. He can slow it down. It had to be Ashe. It had to be Gragas. EDG knew that, called their bluff.
They certainly didn't. During that entire match, we saw so much pressure from EDG towards the bottom side of the map, Frostcone, especially from the very start. Deft and Mako, they were so dominant in that 2-on-2 lane.
And the thing is it was just a very standard composition. It's not like EDG revealed any sort of gimmick or anything. This is just the bare basics of what we've seen on 6.15. Pick pushing lanes, organically win, secure the first blood on the tower gold, and if you get a kill, that's about 1,000 gold swing, and just continue to snowball from there.
And we got to see Kalila pick up his Rex on the blue side once again, showing what he can do on this champion. He was all over the map. Team WE had 3 flashes burnt before 5 minutes.
It was about 4 minutes in that game where 2 lanes were definitively won. 3 if you include the 1v1 jungle matchup, because Condi was getting bullied at every turn.
Certainly was, and that match was very decisive for EDG. Team WE, we call them the Elder Dragon team for a reason, because they try to fight at 35 minutes in the game, but when you lose before you get to that point, it's so difficult to try and do anything against EDG.
And here's the thing, Team WE, I mean, they look really weak right now in context to Edward Gaming, but Edward Gaming are just that far ahead of the rest of the LPL. Against any other team, Team WE are usually able to absorb and neutralize a lot of these losses.
They certainly are, but EDG just proved to be too strong. We're going to a very quick break. We'll be back with Game 2 in just a moment.